got a lot of shine. Running up the number, that's a lot of crime. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. Big time, lot of slime. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of prime. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try to take it from me, yeah. Big time, big time, big time, big time. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of crime. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. Lot of signs, smoky in the air, that's a lot of crime. Pockets running over with the dollar signs. Try to take it from me. Big time. I got a lot of shine. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of grind. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. I'm big time, lot of shine. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try to take it from me, from me, from me, from me. Big time, number 9. Diamonds in my teeth, I got a lot of shine. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of grind. Try and take it from me, must be out your mind.
I've already got my spark for today because I worked effortlessly and tirelessly on a new promo, a new open, and I forgot to load it up. I'm an idiot. Like, everybody's face is on there now, and I forgot to load it up. I apologize, guys. Welcome to a Monday edition, obviously a lax Monday edition of the Ysn Power Hour. DJ here, Trey there, CJ. You got negative 30 still down there. You got Donnie Brasco and you got Sigs chilling. Before we get started, got a little something for you. Honest question: if somehow Michigan wins this game, Sigler, your thoughts on this game?
I have so much thoughts on this game. Like and this is the wrong word to use for this weekend, but I hate that school. Jim Harbaugh. I couldn't ask for a better. I couldn't ask for a better coach to hate for that squad.
Uh-oh. We're going to get to that in just a moment. It is National Personal Space Day. So the question for you guys is, how much do you enjoy your space this time of year? How far is it? Is it like a foot? Are you the guy from Seinfeld that's a close talker? Or do you prefer your 6 feet of space here in the pandemic era? Trey, start us off.
Yeah, I love my personal space, especially my space away from Michigan fans nowadays. But it's, I like it. It's pretty cool.
CJ.
Yeah, I prefer personal space, but whenever you coach, sometimes you're in a gymnasium during these winter workouts. It's kind of tough to have to raise your voice all the time. So, personal space, but either one.
I got a bad feeling, boys. All those Michigan fans that came out of the woodwork last week are going to be watching today. Rob, personal space guy or no?
Yeah, I don't want nobody that close. I mean, if we're that close, we're talking on a bar or something, that's fine. But if you try to talk to me like that at Walmart, you're gonna go flying into the chips. And like my boy Trey up there, if you're wearing blue and maize or whatever that dumbass color is, instead of that 6 feet, we're going to need at least 10 for at least a week.
Oh, the super COVID. Tony Brasco.
Bro, I hate when people are in my face. Honestly, it's like one of those things where it's like, do you realize, like, first of all, you probably didn't brush your teeth since the morning, okay? Why are you talking to me at 8 p.m. all up in my face like that? Like, just back up a little bit. It's all right. I can hear you. I promise. I used to bartend. I have bartender ears. Okay, so, yeah, I'm good. Just stay away a little bit.
Siggy.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like my personal space too. I was just somewhere where shoulder to shoulder people along the sidewalks and something you deal with, but I'd prefer not to have anybody within 3 to 6 feet of me.
Yeah, I don't like people in my face, right? But yeah, 3 to 6 isn't bad. I can handle that. Jeff's back. He says, "Yeah, go blue after Michigan winning. I got accepted as the head coach at the University of Florida. I don't need foot surgery either, so today is a good day," says Jeff
It's
Howard.
not funny today.
He says it's not funny. Michigan with the big win and me being the head coach at Florida, life is good. So he's already moved on to Florida. Gentlemen, obviously a lot to unpack. Let's just start with that game so you guys can get it over with. Saturday at noon, I had a whole bunch of text messages leading up to the game, and then all of a sudden I'm doing the Salem game and my phone went silent. I thought there was something wrong with it. What happened? Let's start with that and go from there. Siggy, I know you were down in Nashville. What was your assessment of that football game?
I think it's exactly what I said on Friday when I said I didn't want to get too cocky, because I remember a Michigan team defeated a Ohio State team much better than the one we had just play on Saturday. So same problem that team faced back then. They got pushed around up front. The running back just went crazy, and they couldn't tackle. He's getting 15 yards before he's even being touched. So defense has been the problem most of the year. It's been the problem, and unfortunately for them, it bit them at a bad time.
Rob, you were pretty confident going into that game.
Oh yeah.
Your thoughts?
And honestly, I had no, the thing about Michigan State and Michigan, when Ohio State shows up, me personally, I'm nervous every time because, I'm a realist, but at the same time, I didn't feel those nerves this weekend. I seriously thought Ohio State would actually handle their business this year, neglecting the fact that, if you'd have taken the time to realize that, Michigan State, one of the worst secondaries in the country, there's no way Stroud was going to get off like that against Michigan. Me personally, I'll try and find the positive in almost anything. I will say that, what the hell are we supposed to do? Seriously, win this game every freaking year? No. Hats off to the Michigan team up there. Congratulations to their fans. I will say that Michigan's offensive line and tight end blocking scheme was perfect. We could not do anything to slow that offensive line down. So that the line is usually where the game's won. And I'll tell you right now, Michigan just handed us our ass because of the offensive line and the tight ends.
Donnie, your thoughts?
Yeah, I had Ohio State 65. My God, I just don't understand what team showed up on Saturday. You want to talk about the game of games that you're supposed to be, so prepared for, and then you show up and you don't do anything. And it sucks because Stroud still threw for 394 yards. He threw an unbelievable touchdown pass to Wilson. It's just one of those things like you could point at a lot of different directions, but I think you really have to point on the, point the fingers at Ryan Day. He was trying to play chess with Jim Harbaugh, and you can't do that. You got to just go with what you know, and just do what you've done all year and bury the team. It was insane. And then where is the AJ Hawks and the Andy Katzenmoyers? Where's that linebacker at? Because that Eichenberg, oh my God, it was like he had Crisco on his arms trying to tackle. It was so stupid. And come on, these linebackers are supposed to be. At one point, Ohio State used to be linebacker U. They would consider them, and them in Miami and USC as linebacker U, and now all of a sudden they can't find a stud linebacker to save their life. So I don't know. It was pretty infuriating, and I basically was already looking forward to the Boardman Mooney game by halftime because I knew it was just one of those weird, funky games. Like nothing was going right, and all the dumb, stupid penalties, and it was just I don't know. It was just uncharacteristic, and for a game of that magnitude, when all the marbles were on the line, you just got to show up better than that. So I'm looking forward to Columbus next year, though. That's for sure.
Trey, your assessment. You're the last Ohio State fan on the board.
Yeah, I just want to say, a blind squirrel catches a nut every so often. Michigan, you guys still suck, and Iowa's going to pound you on Saturday. Besides that,
there's the Ohio State fan we know.
No.
Besides that, we just got pounded off the ball, off the spot. I mean, our run defense was awful. It's like watching the Oregon game, but 10 times worse. Defensive play calling, I didn't like it from the start of the game. I thought we should have brought down our safeties a lot sooner than what we did, and we were playing catch up with one of the best defenses in the country. It didn't work. But I hope Michigan fans that came out of the woodwork, like you said, after the 5 years, I hope you enjoy these next few days because you're not making it to the Final Four. Iowa's going to end your dreams on Saturday, and then we're all going to go back to reality where Michigan doesn't win a game against Ohio State for another 10 years.
Wow. Just for the record, how old were you the last time Michigan won?
I think
2012.
I was 9, 10.
There it is.
18 now.
Think about that.
Put in perspective.
Think about that. The second question I have to ask because it's one of those things when you don't lose that game for so long. When did you know it was over, and what was your reaction to it? Trey, start us off.
I didn't like it going into halftime. We only had 13 points. It was 14-13 going into half. I felt okay at that point, but start of the fourth quarter, we just looked sluggish still on defense. I didn't see any signs of us changing our style to stop the run defense, or to stop the run, I should say. And I'd say the start of that fourth, that's when the nerves started to kick in that this might not be the year.
Did you get the bubble guts?
I did. I had to log out of Twitter, Snapchat, everything. I had to go radio silent.
Siggy, you were in Nashville, and you had somebody after it was over trying to fight you.
Yeah, I'm with Trey. It was about at half. I was uneasy as well. Just not only the defense, the offense. Just I don't know. It just seemed like I was not very confident in the quarterback at that point either. He didn't really have a lot of time. I mean, those guys up front really got after him all game and made him move around the pocket. And I knew if you can make him move, that's not a good scenario. And the other thing is something we saw Saturday that we didn't see a lot this year, some drop balls by some of these receivers. It just you didn't see that from Olave or Wilson all year. And then I know 2 or 3 of them right off the top of my head that really cost them a point, especially in the third quarter. I think Olave dropped one that was a guaranteed first down, and they ended up stalling the drive or kicking a field goal. So it just wasn't an easy feeling all day. I really think you're going to start hearing the rumor mill. Donnie talks. There hasn't been a linebacker there since Tressel was there. I mean, Urban
Laurinaitis, wasn't it?
I'm sorry?
Isn't that right?
Yeah. Laurinaitis would have to be the last one.
Yeah.
At least the stud.
Yeah.
Urban Meyer didn't recruit one either. I mean, they haven't had a middle linebacking at Ohio State, which is hard to believe, in probably close to 8 years now. And they've really gotten away with it. And I like I say, I think you're going to start to hear some names show up for this defensive coordinator position that they're surely going to change. And one name I think you might hear is Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame now. He's an Ohio State guy. He was at Cincinnati with Fickle, and kid's only 35 years old, and he's really bright. And I think that's something they need right now is an Ohio guy at that defensive coordination position to start recruiting like Hartline's recruiting for offense. And that's what they need.
These two are going to be very interesting to me because Donnie was all ready to go to a basketball game. Donnie, when was the time that you knew Ohio State was going to lose for the first time in 10 years?
when we handed the ball off 3 straight times right out of halftime. We handed the ball off 3 straight times. It was a third and 3 or 3rd and 4, whatever it was. But you're not fooling anybody. You have 3 absolutely elite wide receivers and an elite stud tight end, and you basically say, okay, well they're loading up the box again. Let's fool them by running in the same spot over and over again. It looked like Kevin Stefanski was calling plays. So, I mean, it was so bad, and literally, I just kept thinking to myself, like, really? Why did we get the ball at the half? It's 14-13. I understand it's a 1 possession game or whatever, but you still have to play to your strengths, and that's why right then and there I texted my buddy Jeff. I said, hey, why is he trying to play chess? This is stupid. Just go play football and just annihilate this team for Christ's sake. I mean, you could score at will anytime you want. Now, mind you, I get it. It was the first time it was the wind chill was 19 degrees or whatever it was. It was like 20 degrees. That game was 20 degrees cooler than any game that they played so far this year. But none of that matters. Michigan still played. You know what I mean? So I don't. I'm still disgusted by it, as you can tell.
Rob?
I go. A lot of us want to believe that the weather is not a factor. I'll just say this: I knew something was wrong as soon as that snow started falling, because I'm listening or watching the pregame, and then I'm listening to Charles Woodson talk. And as soon as Charles Woodson got done talking, I was like, dude, this doesn't feel right anymore. It's seriously, I'm not kidding when I say this, because I stayed home when the game started. So I was heading to Crickets to watch a game with some people. And when Michigan scored, I'm like, here we go. And then when they got the ball right back, I'm like, oh my God, they're going in again. And when we intercepted it, I hurried up and shut the TV off. I was like, all right, now I can go up there, because I thought it was, we're going to be decent. I wouldn't have went anywhere if they had scored, because I'd just been miserable. I'm like, I knew it. Here we go. As soon as I see that snow. And anyways, went up to Cricket, only told one Michigan fan to sit the F down one time. I was pretty good. I broke a chair, but it was purely accidental. It was actually funny because it was one of those things where you get up. If you know anything about Crickets, they have plastic chairs in the back. So the arm breaks because of my fat ass. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Well, other than that, just watching like what Donnie was saying and everybody else, the play calling, and we've said this before about how it's so easy to look at a game and say, why would they do that? And we don't do this for a living. We're literally just commenting about it. But part of you has to believe, wait a minute. Well, there's no way in hell I would have ran 3 times in a row like that. You don't do that. And that, all I'll say is when the snow started falling, I started feeling a little bit worse about that game.
And now we get to the Keystone Kid, who has been silent this entire time. CJ, did you enjoy your weekend at all up until Sunday at, let's say, 1:05?
Oh, yeah. I had a great weekend. Light up night at Beaver was real nice on Friday night. I watched the last quarter of the Ohio State game because I was doing East Liverpool girls basketball. Mm-hmm. So I came home, watched the last quarter just to see what the score was because I knew we talked about it on Wednesday. I was surprised because all I heard was a lot of smack talk from Ohio State is just what I was hearing. But I was surprised. I'm like, damn, like I thought they were better, but anyway.
Somebody on this panel took -65.
Yeah, right.
I will take -65. Like Rob said earlier, I will take -65 when Ohio State shows up to play and play to their abilities. I'll take -65 all day long. Respect
that. Yeah, from that standpoint, CJ, you had some games this weekend, but we'll get to those in just a minute from basketball perspective. But there was some football to be played at the high school ranks this weekend as well. And Trey, you were under the weather, so you didn't get to go to the game, but I don't think you've stopped talking about it since the last snap of that Ursuline game. The Ursuline Irish headed to the state championships on Friday at 10:30 a.m. at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Tom Benson Stadium. Talk to me about I'm sure you've been in some chats that these guys have been on. A great game by the Irish. Game plan was fantastic, and it was executed perfectly. Talk to me about what you know about the Irish going into this week's game.
Well, they feel like they're firing on all cylinders. They feel like this is the best that they played this entire season, these last 2-3 games. They really got an eye opener after the game a couple games ago where they almost lost to Glenville. So that was kind of an eye opener to say, hey, we were this close to going home. But yeah, outside of that, the West Branch and Port Clinton, they feel like they're playing to the best of their abilities right now, not only on offense but defense as well. They feel like their safeties and their D linemen, everybody in that locker room right now feels reinvigorated, and I just think that this is the best team that we've seen all season. I mean, they're the best football team in the area. I mean, I'm looking around. I don't see another team going to state,
boy.
so it's
boy.
I just see one team, and they're going to state Friday, like you said, 10:30, Hall of Fame Stadium, and gonna catch a dub.
You're
Easy as
calling the
that.
state championship.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. From that standpoint, guys, this Ursuline team, we've talked about them. Let's reverse the tape about 3 years when this team was having trouble winning a football game. They were 0-10, 1-9, and then all of a sudden Dan Reardon comes back and this team puts things together. I mean, how great of a story is this? A storybook ending for Brady Shannon, and you look at DMAC, and you look at all these seniors that have stuck it out this entire time. I remember calling the Brady Shannon game in year 2 of YSN, that he took the snaps at Cleveland Benedictine, and they just had rough skating the entire way. How impressive is it that this Ursuline team has been able to transform themselves into a state champion caliber team in that short of time under one regime? Donnie?
I mean, it's big time, but you got to remember, Reardon comes back. That was a key, come back. I mean, he basically brought a culture back with him, and the kids started buying in and believing. And all it takes is a wave of kids to come through that are winners, and they're easily coachable, and that's what you end up with. I mean, DMAC was amazing. I remember I was listening to the game coming back. I called an unbelievable night for Jonathan Berdovich, by the way. But I was driving back from that game, and I had the game on YSN, listening to Leslie talk about how he's definitely the best running back in the area. And you got to remember the running backs that we've had in this area. And this kid's really just turned it up and turn it on. I mean, when the weather gets cold, I mean, you run the football, right? So they did a heck of a job, and I still stand by my stance of them winning the championship as well. So I'm with Trey on that one.
So McElroy has 5 touchdowns. All 5 touchdowns scored by DMAC that night. Does that take a little bit of pressure off the QB when your running back is on point? I mean, CJ, from your perspective, if you got a guy that's on fire, and he had 257 yards on the ground and even more, from a reception standpoint, does that take a little bit of pressure off of Brady that's really unnecessary at that point? Just keep feeding 6?
Oh, certainly. Once you have someone that's hot like that you can feel comfortable kind of just handing the ball to, and he'll go make plays for you, it has to take just so much pressure off you. Probably unnecessary pressure at that point. You're right. But either way, you're the quarterback of the team. You're going to have pressure on you. Having that guy that you can really depend on to get the ball down the field is just huge. And Ursuline is just firing on all cylinders right now. This, like Trey said, they should be, they should feel that this is the best ball they've played all year. You're in prime time right now.
See, from a standpoint, to me, it's crazy to think you're going to be playing football, a state championship game, nonetheless, at 10:30 in the morning on a Friday. Do you think that there's anything wrong with that, or do you think that? I mean, I know these kids from Ursuline would play on the moon if you told them to, but from a standpoint of some of these parents are hardworking parents. I mean, all these parents are hardworking parents for the most part. 10:30 on a Friday, that seems a little weird to me. I mean, football is a night game at the high school rankings, and 10:30 in the morning after you've been playing games at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night on Fridays and Saturdays seems a little weird.
Yeah, it is, and I think you're trying to make sense of the OHSAA all of a sudden right now. So that not going to happen. But
yeah, good luck.
Bottom line, if you're one of your kids playing in the state title game, or you're at the state track meet or whatever, it doesn't matter. You're going. You're going to find a way to get off work. Your boss is going to any boss that wouldn't understand to not allow a person to miss work for the day to go watch their child participate for the state title is ridiculous. And I hope it doesn't affect somebody financially because, you know, we have a holiday that just happened plus Friday. So a lot of people don't work and a lot of people don't get paid. I mean, not a lot of people are fortunate enough that when they do have a day off, they get paid for that. So hopefully these parents can get there to watch these kids, and it doesn't matter what time the game is. These kids are going to be ready to go. They won't sleep the night before. There's no way. I know I wouldn't either. And it's just what an exciting time to be able to participate in that.
Trey, I know you're stoked because you don't have to go to school on Friday, but talk to me about being there at 10:30 in the morning and rooting on it. It's a little weird, right?
Yeah, it's definitely odd. I mean, I feel like there's got to be a workaround for that because 10:30 in the morning for a state championship game of like a football, it doesn't feel right. I mean, it's not college. We're not playing a college game at noon here where, you know, you have a packed, like, huge college state. Like, we're going to the Hall of Fame Stadium, so it's a bigger stadium. But 10:30 in the morning, like, and like what Segi said, like, there are parents that work. Like, I feel like there's got to be a solution to this where we could have all 7 state championship games where parents might not have to miss because they're so early in the morning. It's definitely a weird feel.
I think noon is that cutoff. To me, that just feels like a cutoff. Noon or 1 p.m. Donnie, go ahead.
Well, I unfortunately played in a state championship game at 10:30 in the morning in 1994 at Madison, Washington High School, and that's old turf. That's the old style, hard as a rock. It was frozen. They gave us turf shoes at Washington High School. It was in the sun. The sun was out the entire time, but the way that it hits you, it was almost blinding. Like, we were down 14-0 to St. Henry. We battled back. It ended up being a 21-7 game, but it was one of those things where it's just the weirdest feeling in the world because you're trying so much more. You're trying all that extra to get up for this game because it's a state championship game, but it's just so weird playing at 10:30 in the morning. And like I said, that turf was concrete. It was so hard, rock hard. Wasn't thawed anything. It was bad. So.
Rituals are thrown off you know, during a game like that. I mean, you think you get breakfast and lunch before you even board the bus.
Right.
And now you're lucky to get breakfast. I mean, it's a state championship game. I know I wasn't an eater before games. Now, think about if you're playing at 10:30 in the morning, like, to be able to get up and get your mind right at 10:30 in the morning, it takes a little bit more. From your standpoint, Rob, is that the time that you'd want to play a game, 10:30 a.m.?
No, absolutely not. And let me tell you something right now. There's not a single person in the state of Ohio that is excited about a state championship high school football game being played at 10:30 in the morning. Everybody is psychologically thwarted toward those Friday night lights. We love it. We've always loved it. It's always been a thing from kid playing to coaching to parents watching. Nobody in their right mind wants to go play that football game at 10:30 in the morning. It sucks. It's not any kind of fun. It's messing up everybody's schedules. Here's what I'll say about that, though. As much as it's realistically stinks, as soon as you do finally get to sit down in that stadium and when that game begins, that's when it seems to start making sense. Like, nothing else matters. But the actual build-up to that game, no, I wouldn't have anything to do with it. It's ridiculous.
So just so we're all on the same page here, there is a Thursday night game. That's the Division II game. That's at 7. And then you start Friday at 10:30 with the Division IV. That's Ursuline. Division III is at 3 on that Friday. And then 7:30 is Division I. I think we all knew that Division I was going to be a marquee game because typically that's going to bring the most fans. I don't understand the next day, Division 7 being at 10:30. Okay, the least amount of fans usually, typically. And then you have 6 and then 5. So it goes 2, 4, 3, 1, 7, 6, 5.
What time's the 6 o'clock or the 6 game, and what time's the 5 game?
3 o'clock is the 6 game on Saturday, and the Division 5 is at 7:30. So I love Tom Benson Stadium. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing this over the course of 2 stadiums. One's in, and I think they used to do this, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody said this on the panel before. One's at Canton, one's in Massillon.
Yep.
Just do it out, you know, and that way you can go from one to the other if you want to. and you can double up on. I mean, if the OHSA is all about the cash, and we know they are, do it that way. And you can promote some of these great, dining places along the way between Massillon and Canton to be the sponsors. But to me, it's all about, nobody should be playing a game earlier than 12 or 1 o'clock, because at least you can get a half day at work and then go to your son's football game. Doing it at 10:30, think about the travel time for some of these teams getting to Canton. I mean, some of these teams are probably 3-4 hours away driving to Canton. Think about these Cincinnati teams driving to Canton. It's crazy. And they have to, that incurs a fee, because either you're getting up at the butt crack of dawn or you're spending the night before, so you don't have to do that. So what would you rather do? That's a good question. What would you rather do? Spend the night before, or get up that early, sleep on the bus, and then get off and play? Trey?
I'd go night before. I think it gives you that much extra time. You know what I mean? I think you need all the time you can that morning to kind of get your mind right, eat, kind of relax, because you don't want to, you never want to go into those games too amped up, because then, you leave yourself open for failure. And I think if you stay the night before, you kind of get a more relaxed feel. You can wake up, you have more time to prepare. So yeah, I'd definitely go night before.
I'm a sleep in my own bed guy. I got to be honest. I'd rather sleep the night before in my own bed, get on the bus at 4 a.m. if I have to, and make the trek. Siggy, your thoughts?
I think you go the night before too. I mean, your routine's already screwed up. Anyways, I'm a creature of habit when it comes to coaching and everything. Like, you have a set routine. These kids all have a routine. They get up, they go to school, they go to their game. Even in regular season, when there's a Saturday game, it's thrown off anyway. So night before is fine. Plus, too, you know where your kids are. They're all with you that night. There's not a chance for them to go out and do something dumb or stay up half the night before. So, not that you want to control them all, but then at least it's a little bit more comforting as a coach, I think. You have them all there. They're all in the same setting, and they're go for the next day.
That's a great point. CJ, your thoughts?
Yes, I'm right there with Sigler on that one. That was basically what I was going to say. As a coach, I think I would prefer being there the night before. You know where your kids are at. He's right on that. So, and with that also, it's just another like experience type thing for the kids. They get to stay in a hotel. They don't get to do that too often. Stay in a different place. Just some extra for them. So I would go with night before.
Rob?
You guys remember the Friday Night Lights show on NBC?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you remember how they play that sentimental, emotional, whatever kind of Southern twang music you want to call it, like while they were driving out of the stadium and all the parents were following behind the cars, and you were just getting amped up for that drive to the stadium? Realistically, that lasts about maybe 3 minutes in real life, because as soon as you pull out of the parking lot, you're on the freeway for freaking 3 hours. That sucks. I would say definitely stay the night, have that setting. Regardless if you're in your bed or if you're in a hotel bed, you're thinking about that game like crazy. So I don't think sleep's going to really be an issue, because I don't think too many people sleep the night before, regardless. And hey, like you guys are saying, the point of everybody knowing where these kids are at. I mean, hell, don't get it twisted. I mean, I'm sure there's some hotels that, you get a couple players that sneak out or whatever. I mean, it's not impossible, but for the most part, it's a good setting for the kids, the coaches, and everybody to be in the same building, say, this is what we're doing. This lights off at 9 o'clock, whatever, eat something full of carbs and get to bed. So I would say definitely night over.
Donnie, put a bow on this for us.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say night before as well. But if you're that adamant about playing at one stadium, and you mentioned a Thursday night game, well, then what's wrong with going 7 and 6 on a Thursday night, 4 and 5 on a Friday, 2 and 3 on a Saturday, and have the marquee game 7 o'clock Sunday night in the stadium for Division I? I mean, we've seen. I know Sundays used to be out of the question for high school teams and stuff, but there's plenty of games that happen on Sundays now. So I mean, if you're gonna have a Thursday night, why not have a Sunday as well? And then that way teams can play 3 and 7 or 3 and 7:30 all week, that at least gives you that time. Like we used to, our whole thing, like when I was at McDonald before we would go, we ended up having to do all that stuff the night before. You know what I mean? It's just not it's just different. It's not the same. You know what I mean? Like we would go as a team to a church. There was 4 churches in McDonald. We would rotate churches, right? We would do our blessings, all that stuff. Then we would all go as a team and eat. And then we would all get on the bus and head to the game, whatever we had to do. But like some of those things, like you take that stuff for granted when you have to get up, when you have to be in Massillon, Washington for a 10:30 game, you got to get there by 8:30, and start warming up and preparing and everything else. So your bus is leaving at 6:45 in the morning, and Rob's right. It's all nice when everybody's following you out of town and you're on the freeway and they're above the bridges holding signs and everything else. Like you're getting excited for that, but you still have all that time to drive and get all cramped up on a bus and everything else. So I don't know. I would say the night before for sure.
It's all interesting. And we're going to be talking about Ursuline the entire week. Don't you worry about it. Friday, obviously, being the only day. And I'm still not sure about that because the game will be over by 1:30, you'd think. So from that standpoint, we should be able to do a show from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock and have some recaps for it. So we will be talking about Ursuline the entirety of the week. So Ursuline fans, don't you worry, Trey. I know you got a nice big smile on your face. Because it's what you know and what you love. So we'll have that. When we come back from this break, we will have, the depressing side. The end of an era here in the Mahoning Valley with Springfield losing, as well as Warren JFK seasons coming to a close as well. We'll take a break. We'll be back right after this on the Ysn Power Hour. Don't go anywhere.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com. and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwood are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
And welcome back to the Ysn Power Hour. DJ Trey, Siggy, we got CJ, we got Rob, and we got Donnie all with you here today. So, Siggy, you just texted me with some breaking news on the NFL front. TJ Watt is now out for this game with COVID. Well, good night, Steelers. It was a good season. We'll see you later. Bye-bye. From a perspective of YSN and local, it was a rough Saturday. It was an absolutely rough Saturday. I had the honor of doing the JFK game with Dom O'Brien, and the Eagles just could not get anything going. It looked like they were on skates the entire game. The snow was coming down. It was pretty. It was the way, in the words of the great John Armini, it was the way football was intended to be played. However, it just looked like JFK was on rollerblades the entire game, and they just could not get any momentum going. Ended up with a score, but they ultimately lose. Their season comes to an end. And then you look at Springfield, guys. Springfield, Bo Brungard, that entire team that was destined to get back in the championship game and battle to the end, and they just could not finish the job. Which game were you most, I don't want to say distraught, most disappointed to hear the final score in from that standpoint? Donnie?
I mean, I would have to say both, but more so the Springfield game, only because I felt like they had an easier path. And I don't know. I mean, weather plays in the factor for both teams, but I think it messed with Springfield a lot more. Carey had a running back that looked like Moose Johnson. I mean, my God, that guy was huge. He even wore that little neck pad too to go along with it. But I definitely think Carey wins the state championship. I mean, to beat Springfield 26-13?
Yep,
something along those lines. Yeah, after Springfield has definitely taken care of business the rest of the way since South Range. I mean, I feel most distraught about that because and Bo deserved to make it one last time. I mean, when you have somebody that works as hard as he has, and has the respect of his teammates and his community the way that he has, he definitely deserved to be there. And it's unfortunate, but I would definitely go with Springfield.
Rob?
I would say I was more surprised with JFK's score. I mean, hey, you get to this point of the season, and you could talk about football being played in snow all you want. Sometimes it's fun, but for the most part, it's annoying as hell. It is, especially if you have an offense that spreads out the field, or if you have a quarterback that needs to roll out. Those conditions are not set up for that. So as good as a team as you have, especially Springfield, the way they run when you run into those conditions, I would never agree with that. That is not the way football is supposed to be played. In my opinion, think about it. There's a reason why you're never going to see a Super Bowl played outdoor in Green Bay. There's a reason for that, because it's the most important game in football, and they can't have weather affecting it. So, I was, like everybody else is going to say, I felt horrible for Bumgard. Thought for sure that would have been Sean's year this year, and get them boys right back. And hey, I mean, things happen. You literally look at the score. That could have been 2 plays. JFK. It could have been 1 play, and all of a sudden they're tied. They could have won. Who knows? And it really just comes down to finishing, and that's it. I feel horrible for both teams, but great seasons.
CJ?
Yeah, I was very surprised to see JFK score. And, 14-7, it's a very low-scoring game. I've seen that JFK offense. They were just explosive on so many fronts. Defensively, they've always been good. But, it's tough. The weather obviously would have played a huge factor into that game. But I was surprised to see JFK and Bo, that comment that we just put on the screen, he's going to do great things at the next level. That is absolutely true. And we wish him the best moving forward. It's tough for him. You would have loved to have seen him maybe go for one more, but JFK, man, that was a very surprising final outcome.
Siggy, your thoughts, and I'm interested because I don't think you've seen either team in person this year, but you've been able to watch it on YSN, and of course, you've been part of some of these awesome broadcasts that Mike has in the back here, the audible call. Talk to me about what you saw and what kind of raised your eyebrow.
And I think you say disappointed and surprised. So I was surprised by JFK just by the way they've been able to handle business every week, all year long, and maybe last week we thought was an eye-opener for them to really keep them on their toes and move forward. And maybe it was a red flag and we just didn't see it there, to fall behind early and not be able to catch up. And it's definitely surprising. And the disappointing level for Springfield for me is I'm not disappointed in them. I'm just disappointed for them. They were steamrolling people since week 1, since that South Range game, and it just felt like destiny for Brungard to get there and finally get over the hump. And it's just so disappointed for that team. And They did great things behind some great people.
Trey, I know your team won, but you got to see two other games, or at least listen to two other games where we thought that those teams would advance as well. What were your first reactions to those losses?
Yeah, I was more surprised by the Springfield one. We were talking a little bit before the show, but I said JFK. They really kind of scared me the week previous. Being down at halftime, taking it into overtime, they really looked like they got pushed to their limits in that game. So I was nervous going into the following game based off what had happened there. And if you look at Springfield, like Siggy said, I mean, they've been dominating in every game since that South Range game. So I thought they were so hot. They were destined to go to that state game. And they just looked so unbeatable at times that I thought Bo was going to handle business. And I feel terrible for him. His stat line was still good, but I mean, at the end of the day, they just couldn't get it done. But I was definitely more shocked by Springfield.
My stomach was in my throat the entire game for JFK. I was sitting next to Dom, and we're calling that game, and I'm thinking to myself, it just doesn't feel right. You guys talked about that Ohio State game and how it just didn't feel right from the go. And for me, watching that JFK game, it didn't feel right. Some of the things that JFK did very well, Newark was going head-to-head with them and stopping them from doing it. And that's how you get yourself into a championship game, is if you're the better team. Now, both teams, we can sit here and talk about the snow the entire time, but both teams had to play in it. It just happened to be that the teams that we'd root for didn't play better than the other team. And the other team, I don't want to say they were more prepared, but there were some discipline issues from a penalty standpoint for JFK that really, really hurt them. There was a personal foul that was, you know what I mean? One of those ones that maybe shouldn't be called in a state semifinal game. But it was nonetheless, and JFK had the opportunity to bounce back. The offense just could not get going. AB was their rock all season long. We called their offensive backfield Fire and Ice with AB and the Iceman Michael Morrow. Just could not get going. And Hadley had a couple nice throws downfield. There's a couple routes where you could see the receiver slip and it turned into an interception. So when you have turnovers in a football game, it's going to cost you, unless you're the Baltimore Ravens, apparently. So it's one of those situations where turnovers are going to hurt you more than they're going to help you from the obvious department. But from Springfield, just watching that game, I had it on in the booth and watching the score go up and up and up, and it was 26-13 was the final, I think, and just helpless. You just felt so helpless from that standpoint, because you're so used to Bo coming through and the Springfield Tigers overcoming the adversity that they've done for the last 3 years until that state championship game. And, it's we talked about it last week. Do we take teams in this area for granted when they're victorious? I think we do. I really think we do, because I think everybody had JFK, Ursuline, and Springfield stamped to go to the next game in the state championship. And when that happens, we don't know what to do. It's kind of like Ricky Bobby. You don't know what to do with your hands, So, interesting, very interesting. We have a question that's out there right now, and I was
looking at that.
Listen. Where is it? There's yeah. We have we're being dethroned here. Okay. Look at this. It says, what does Mooney need to do to get back to being a perennial power? They'd like an answer. And then they went on, and that's a good question. That's a good question. All right, so here's the deal, and I'll start this, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong or add to it. From Mooney's perspective, they need more students. They needed more enrollment, because they went from being an enrollment of 1,200 or something like that in the Pelini days, and I'm talking about when the Pellinis played, to they don't have enough kids to pick from to play boys sports and to be elite. And you look at Ursuline, they had to increase their enrollment from that standpoint. Am I wrong, Trey? Is that it's an enrollment thing, is it not?
It absolutely is. When I saw the question in the chat and I saw people wanting an answer for it, that's the first thing that came into my head. When you compare the size of Ursuline to Mooney, or even JFK to Mooney, I mean, the enrollment's much, much different. I mean, Mooney is seriously, their incoming freshman class is small. I mean, their senior class graduating this year was small. So when you have such a small sample size and you're in and you're in Division IV, I mean, there's just going to be problems. So I don't necessarily think that it's an issue with the players that they do have. I think it's that that's all they have. I mean, when you have such a small sample size to choose from, you can only have a limited amount of success. So, yeah, you need more kids or move down divisions.
Sigler?
Well, and you're exactly right. It's the enrollment thing, and I'm sure it's the competitive balance is hitting them hard. Those rules from the OHSAA, and that's just what unfortunately, that's what they've signed up for, and they have to figure that out how to deal with that. They're D4, they're no different than some of these other D5, D6 schools enrollment wise, but you're dealing with schools that don't have to deal with competitive balance issues like they do, and they figure it out, and they're really gonna have to figure it out. And that schedule they play, it's not a picnic, and they may need to start recognizing, hey, and unfortunately, it takes two to tango. People are going to want to have to play them as well. So they've kind of created that monster for themselves, and it's a tough one to deal with.
CJ, how do you get the elite Cardinal Mooney back into the limelight?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think there's a point to be made about enrollment. A lot of times, obviously with the smaller school, it's going to be a lot tougher to find, the best players, but you kind of have what you get. But I look at it as that's not the whole picture. I think because there's a school in Beaver County called Aliquippa.
Mm-hmm.
It's a single A school. They graduate maybe 60, 70 kids every year. And they just won a Whitfield championship in 4A. In 4A. I mean, that's a powerhouse year in, year out, and that's just because they've built a culture that wins.
Now, to translate that, I guess, from Pennsylvania to Ohio is essentially a Division 7 team going out and winning a Division 1 title.
Yeah.
That's what Aliquippa is doing.
Yep.
In Pennsylvania, and they're doing that by choice because they need competition, and these kids are really. Who's the pro from Aliquippa? Is it Ty Law?
Yeah,
Ty Law. Just for perspective, Rob, you've been around this area a long time. Mooney, Ursuline, both of them prestigious. Do you think it's just enrollment, or look what happened to Ursuline when they brought back Dan Reardon? Is it a leadership thing that they need someone to follow?
I'm sure, enrollment could be down, but I will say this much. Back in my heydays in this area, which would have been the middle 90s, if you were really good at football, you didn't play for Ursuline anymore. You went to Ursuline Mooney. And guess what? They didn't, regardless of the tuition's what now, $8,700 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the selling points. If you want a better education, we're going to go ahead and wait. However they do it. I don't know the details, so I don't want to say anything wrong or, put my foot in my mouth. Basically, it was recruiting at the high school level, and there's no way to dance around that part. Help the kid out, saying, "Hey, we'll do this. If he wants to come play football for us, we might help you with the tuition fee. But your kid is going to get your kid is going to get a very good education, and be able to play for a powerhouse of a program. And as long as I've been a kid and when growing up, we've been dealing with Mooney and Ursuline, and I shouldn't say dealing with, but we've had Mooney and Ursuline making their runs. I think maybe the tuition or maybe the enrollment's down, but I think it has more to do with the program when it comes to the actual football program. Like you're saying, leadership. A big
Does it
thing
have
about
anything to do with open enrollment with everybody else too? I think to me that's starting to be an issue too.
Open enrollment could put a huge dent in that. Because if this kid's, let's say he's on the south side of Youngstown. All right, so does he want to go to, let's say, Struthers because he's closer? Does he want to go to Austintown Fitch, make the trip? Or somebody from Ursuline shows up and says, "Hey, we got this coach back. How about you come play for us? We're going to help you out with this fee or whatever, and talk to your mom and blah, 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 blah." But now that open enrollment's giving them way more options. So that's clearly, in my opinion, I think that it's great to bring up because that's clearly put a dent in what they had going for so many years. So,
Mr. Brasco?
Yeah, I think the tipping point is already passed for Mooney to come back to be an elite program, to be honest with you. And talking with a lot of my friends that graduate from Mooney, they feel the same way. It's the fact that winning breeds numbers. Ursuline is on that side of it again. So they're obviously the attractive draw. Look, as a Browns fan, we lost generations of Browns fans to the Steelers. You know what I mean? And I'm not kidding about this. It's real. We literally lost because why would you want to be my son who's 8 years old walking into school saying, "Oh yeah, my Browns, my Browns, my Browns," when little Johnny walks in the room with his Steelers gear and says, "Yeah, we just won another Super Bowl." You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where why would you want to go root for somebody, or why would you want to go to that school if you know that you're not going to have the success that you had before? And a lot of that is happening right now in their feeder programs, in their feeder schools, the St. Charles's, the Holy Families, the St. Christines, and St. Roses of the world that feed into those schools. That's the battle right now. They used to be top heavy. Like St. Charles was a top heavy Mooney school. It was nonstop, and now it's pretty much 60-40. They're going to Ursuline. So I mean, you're just not gonna get back to that program anything remotely close to what that dominant dynasty of a Mooney program used to be. Unfortunately,
I'm interested because I do think they'll get back there. I don't know how. I don't have the blueprints, but I think they're going to get back there. I don't know what the answer is, but if Ursuline can do it, there's enough brain trust in there that they can probably take the cookie cutter and put it over to the bold M too. So I'm interested. I want them back. I think this area is better when we have our best teams out there and showcasing their talents. So listen, I hope that all the teams have their opportunity and our area continues to bring it home. We'll be able to talk about this all week here on the Power Hour as we prepare for the Division IV State Championship Friday at 10:30. But what do we have on tonight? Let's take a gander, ladies and gentlemen. We got some Jackson Milton and Heartland Christian. That's going to be at 6, another 6 o'clock game. Matthews at Warren JFK. Bristol at Badger at 7. We got Crestview and Springfield at 7 as well. East and Leetonia doing battle in the Bear Den at 7. East Liverpool and Beaver Local, the game around here, at 7 o'clock. Lakeview at Ursuline, that's at 7 as well. Liberty and Struthers. Perry at Howland. Poland at Austintown. Fitch. Salem at South Range. And St. Thomas Aquinas at United. 2 more games we have on the docket as well. Toronto at Lisbon, and I'm trying to think the last one, Valley Christian and Newton Falls. So 14 games in total, all for free. Check them out, ysnlive.com, for your complete list of games this evening. Good luck to all the girls and especially all the YSN schools in the area competing. And then finally, gentlemen, as we do each and every day, it is time to spark things up. It's the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by our friends over at Joe Dickey Electric or DickeyElectric.com. Anything commercial, residential, anything electrical you need to spark your engine at Joe Dickey Electric, the official electrical supplier of your sports network. Let's go to Trey. What do you got, brother?
Well, I have 2. I have a positive and a negative. I haven't done a negative on here yet, so I'll start with that one and then with a positive. My negative is the Ohio State defensive tackles and linebackers. You guys single-handedly ruined my Saturday. I hope you know that. You ruined my Saturday, and you ruined a bunch of Ohio State fans all over the country Saturday, including J.K. Simmons. And I had to listen to Rich Eisen this morning talk about how great Michigan is on Twitter, and you ruined my day. So that's one. My positive is the Ursuline Fighting Irish. They're going to a state championship on Friday, like we've talked about pretty much all day today, for the first time in 11 years, and they're going to bring it home. Mark my words. Those are my sparks, DJ.
There you go. Siggy.
I'm going to go with negative first. It's, of course, Ohio State on Saturday. Such a letdown. I hope it's short-lived for them. I know they're going to come back pretty strong next year. Positive spark. Just spent the holiday weekend with some friends and family in Nashville and had a great time. And I strongly suggest anybody wants to have a good time, get away. That's a great place to go. So positive spark there.
CJ.
Yeah, so anyone that knows me obviously knows I'm a huge Pirates fan. I just have to make a note right now. The New York Mets just signed Max Scherzer to a monster deal, and he's going to be making about $42 million for the next 3 years. Pirates payroll right now is $40 million, so he makes more than the entire Pirates payroll. The hand sitting is just it's it's getting on my nerves, especially when I see the Marlins, the big powerhouse financial Marlins, go out and sign Avisel Garcia to a 4-year deal, and it's ridiculous. And then I get to see all these stupid trade discussions. All Yankees fans, they all think they're going to get Brian Reynolds to these just insane trade offers. It's all annoying. I had to shut Twitter off right now because I just saw they designated Brault for assignment for Quintana.
Oh boy! All right, Rob.
First negative, we'll end on a positive then too. First of all, like I said earlier, Michigan fans, congratulations, y'all found it. I can't say anything really that bad. Just keep in mind that this is kind of like one of those nuts finding the squirrel type deals. So, let's be careful how much SHFT you talk, because we're really still be running back. Positive spark. Shout out to Christian Colosimo, aka Slick, Nick's boy over there in Poland. First team Northeast Inland team. They basically pull from Ashland, Columbiana, Mahoning, Medina, Portage, Stark, Summit, Trumbull, and Wayne counties. We actually have a lot of players from the area on these lists that we'll probably end up going through. Yep. But I just wanted to give Christian a shout out.
Yeah, that's one of those crazy lists that I can't ever find. It's just always at different media outlets. So once I find it, we'll put it up on the website. Donnie, go ahead.
All right, so I have like a negative spark that actually can turn into a very, very bright positive spark. And that negative spark is last week, a young lady lost her battle to a brain aneurysm by the last name of Villanueva. 5 kids and a husband she left behind. But a week before she passed away, she was doing her part in driving doing a coat drive for Mahoning County Children's Services. So I encourage anybody and everybody listening, watching, please, if you can, donate a coat to the Mahoning County Children's Services in her honor. So,
Donnie, give me all the information. We'll put up a coat drive right here at YSN for everybody around. So we'll take care of that. From my aspect, the negative spark was I had a couple days to work on some stuff for the show, for the network. It completely botched it. Like, it's all done. It's all sitting there, and the intros are done. I got all these handsome faces on this intro, and I didn't upload it. So joke's on me when it comes down to it. And then the other spark that I have is just being able to spend time with family over the past couple days. When you're in a role like we are, and we're constantly doing games, I think I have 5 games in the next 6 days. Tonight's the only night that I have off, so to speak. To be able to slow down life a little bit and spend some quality time with your significant other and your family means the world. So to be able to kind of recharge the batteries a little bit and give them some of the attention that they so justly deserve for allowing us to do what we do, that is my spark, presented by Joe Dickey Electric and DickeyElectric.com. Guys, a good show again today. We thank you for spending an hour with us, whether you're here in the Valley or you're somewhere around the world. We appreciate you spending your day with YSN. Aaron Amos says, positive spark gets a call 2 games with Hartwig. That is a positive for anybody. Also, shout out to Johnny Berdovich, Johnny Buckets, for 59 points, Donnie. What was that, Saturday? Friday
night. I mean, it was – well, the kid could score anywhere, and anytime he wanted to touch the ball and score, he did it. And that was 59 points with playing maybe a minute into the fourth quarter. And, I mean, Heartland as a team scored 101. I mean, they were off and running against Mineral Ridge.
Poor Ridge.
The kid's just unbelievable. I mean, he is so talented, and he had a lot of college scouts there watching him, at the Lisbon Tip-Off tournament. One of the nice things about these early tournaments where not everybody plays on the same night and everything else, so there's more attention that you can go. And there was a lot of other high schools that went and watched him play. Berdovich is a great kid. He works hard. He deserves it. And just to see him drop 59 was special.
He's a special kid, man. Just a bulldog. Just a kid from East Palestine. We love him. We've known about him a long time. I actually have an interview from his freshman year that we might run later on this week. But congratulations, Johnny Buckets, on 59, and I'm sure there's many, many more to come this week. Also, programming note, this week we start the Baird Brothers Big Dogs of the Valley for basketball, boys and girls basketball. So stay on the lookout for that. Until, 23 hours from now, we'll see you on the YSN Power Hour. Make sure you tune in tonight. Lots of girls basketball on the docket. See you, everybody.